Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. A very warm welcome to the second session of this Weekend with Wisdom on Atma Vidya Vilasa of Sadashiva Brahmendra. And I'm very happy to again welcome Swamini Svatmavidyananda ji to deliver these sessions. We are very fortunate to hear about this very wonderful text. Let me just begin with a small prayer and then Swamini ji can start the session. Vakratunda Mahakaya Koti Surya Samaprabha Nirvignam Kurume Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murtibheda Vibhagine Vyomavatyapta Dehaya Shri Dakshinamurtaye Namaha Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Hari Om. Please go ahead, Swamini ji.
Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahabhiryankaravavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. In the earlier session today, we had a taste of what it is like to study a text line by line. Just a brief little expose, because it's important to get a hold of that, to get that idea and to have that. There is a swarasya in it. Swarasya means a certain kind of a meaningful joy in that. It brings its own reward. And so I wanted to just, even though we had to rush through it because of the time constraints, I'm glad that we could do that and get a taste of what this text is all about. We got a hint of the poetry. We got a hint of the subject matter, which is the Ananda centered, Ananda, joy, centered on the self and not dependent on the objects outside, but on the subject, which is oneself. We got a small idea of what that is, although a lot more discussion is required. And because that even though he explains many things, this is one thing he doesn't explain. He takes it for granted that one already knows this, and so he doesn't feel the need for explaining. So now to give a to look at this from a slightly different angle, look at it. I would like to look at the text from the thematic angle, like what kinds of themes and what kinds of topics and general focus, etc., is there in this text. And if we do a thematic analysis, a certain few things emerge, even from the morning session, from the earlier session today. A few things emerge. So we can say that the verses, the beginning verses, after the prayer verses, there is a whole series of verses from verse number 3 onwards. The third verse, the fourth verse, fifth verse, and etc., all the way up till 7 or 8, I think, uh, talks about the Guru. this is, we stopped at verse 7, but the Guru continues on verse 8 and on verse 9, verse 8, 9, and then let's see, yes, verse 10. So from verses 4 to 10, basically, there is the emphasis on knowledge. There is the understanding of what is this Yatiraj, as he calls it himself, Yatirat, the one who is the king of the Yatis. Yati means Yatna Shilaha. That is what Yati is. So the king of the king of the sadhakas, and the one who has understood his or her own nature. This is the one that's being talked about. And this one here, the one who is being talked about, is always in each of the verses, along with the description of the Jnani, the Guru is very, very prominent. This is a very important thing. And it's not just where he praises the Guru in the verses dedicated to the Mangala Charanam or the beginning praise. After the praise also, everywhere the word Guru, 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 Guru comes in each of these verses. And so it behooves us. And so it's not that we are looking back, because even the verses that we are about to study have this theme, namely 7 to 10 have this theme. And I'm now going to summarize some of the verses of this whole thing, which is the Guru. So, like for example, he says, Guru Kripaya, Deshika Vachaha Prabuddhaha. Then he also talks about how the Guru woke him up. He was sleeping, and then the Guru woke him up. And these are all where he gives the onus gives the knowledge or the credit of this knowledge to the Guru. And what is the connection of the Guru to Atmananda is a very important question. And also the second question is that once you have Atmananda, once one is a Jnani, why talk about the Guru? We in the verse that in the mantra that Nitin chanted just now, Ishvaro Guru Ratmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavat Vyapta Dehaya Dakshina Murtaye Namaha. There, the one who is, excuse me, the one who is manifest as Guru, the one who is manifest as Bhagavan, the one who is manifest as Shishya. That is what you are, O Lord. You are manifest as all three. But who are you? None of them. You are Atma Tattva. You are that which is the truth of the I. And you manifest as the Guru, you manifest as the Shishya. And the Guru-Shishya relationship, therefore, becomes the last frontier of duality. There is a duality when the Shishya, as a sadhaka, goes to the Guru and says, please, Adhihi Bhagavo Brahma, teach me about Brahman. I don't know. Help me. Trahimam, Pahimam, I'm in the many metaphors are there. I'm wandering in the forest of samsara, which has just caught fire. So this is the Panchadashi approach. Durvara samsara davagmi taptam Dodhuyamanam duradrishtavadaihi. I am having the hot winds of bad fortune, and Dodhuyamanam, repeatedly shaken up by the challenges of any given time. Duradrishta, by the karma, by karma phala, shaken up by the visitation of karma phala at any given time. And Durvara samsara davagni taptam. So I'm in the forest of samsara, and the forest has caught that, what is that called? Forest fire. So there is a forest fire, and then I'm trapped. I cannot escape, and I'm bothered by the hot, distressed by the hot winds of samsara. And then the bhitam prapannam. I'm full of fear. Paripahi mrityoho. Save me from death. What kind of death? The small deaths I keep dying every day. And this is the thing. Save me from the death of being dead to my own nature. Wake me up. He tells the Guru, and the Shishya tells the Guru. So, like this, there are many ways of approaching the Guru, and the approaching the Guru and studying with the Guru, therefore, is extremely necessary for this Atmananda. So, there is a direct connection. Pratipadaka, Pratipadya Sambandha. So, this is what is Pratipadya, this is what is taught. The Guru himself, herself is Atmananda, and then that is what is taught to the student. And so, without the Guru, you cannot kind of intuit it. And this that is why these kinds of texts make it very easy. One is just for roaming in the forest in some kind of a ananda trance, and then there is some kind of looking at it like this, there is some kind of a spiritual romanticism also, that the person of self knowledge has got it very very easy, and all that is there to do is just act like a mad person, unmatta, and then everything is well. No, that's not the point. And that's now not how one understands the truth of the self and becomes the abode of uh, becomes the abode of Anand. That's not how one does it. Then how does one do it? Because of the problem at hand, the centrality of the Guru is to be brought out. And this text is no exception to other Vedanta texts which do the same exercise in bringing out the centrality of the teacher in the quest of self knowledge. So, why is the teacher needed? Because the problem is not of doing, it is of knowing, it is of being. This is what the problem is. The problem is not one like, oh, I have to do something. Like if I am covered in dirt, then I go take a shower, and then I use soap, and then get all the dirt out. Maybe I have been working in the garden or something, or working on the car, and so there is a lot of dirt and oil and everything, and then you wash off with soap, and then one is clean. So this is not something like that. Atma never gets dirty. Still I feel dirty. Still I feel I am full of punya, full of papa, and targeted, full of grief, full of hurt. I feel polluted by all these negative emotions. So what to do? There is no cleansing, so to speak, because the truth of the eye is not dirty, never subject to any dirt. So it is not a matter of doing, it's a matter of knowing. Even the person who's been working in a cow stable for covered in cow dung is really ultimately not dirty. This is what is to be understood. This is exactly what needs to be understood. This is exactly what needs to be abided in. And that the I is free of guilt and hurt comes from the teacher. And what kind of a teacher? Not a teacher who has dropped down from the sky, but a teacher who has gone through whatever you have gone through in order to understand this. The teacher has gone through the same kind of confusion and pain, whose confusion has been dismissed by their teachers and by his teacher, by her teacher, all the way back to the Guru Dakshinamurti. And so, this is something which is very, very beautiful and very, very important to understand. This is a cognitive pursuit. Even though there are emotional changes, the cognitive pursuit leads to emotional changes, spiritual growth, inner maturity, all these things it leads to. But it is primarily what? It is primarily a cognitive pursuit, because the I that I want to gain is not away from me. The I that I want to gain is not something that needs to be dug out, brought out, manufactured, cleaned, etc. This is all in the realm of karma. But the I that I want to be is already existent, and it is to be known. The only thing that separates me from the I that I want to be is what? is my own self-ignorance. So the removal of self-ignorance is the primary focus of self-knowledge of Vedanta, and the removal of self-ignorance cannot happen without the teacher. Why? Because one's own means of knowledge, such as eyes, ears, etc., and we have the five primary means of knowledge called pratyaksha, and then after that we have the some inference. We have inference. We have multiple step inference. We have Arthapatti, multiple step inference. We have Upama, comparison, and then we have this Anupalabdhi, the cognition of absence, etc., etc. We have many ways of knowing which are there for us. And these ways of knowing are very, very important in order to know everything around oneself. This is, this is without these ways of knowing, we cannot really lead our lives. So we have to see what is there. Oh, some smell is coming. Yes, it is the neighbors that are frying nice pakodas. I think I should go there. So, like this, all the information one gets from these ways of knowing. But these ways of knowing are useless when you come to the Atma, because they are not able to produce, any kind of a knowledge. And why are they unable to produce knowledge? Because these ways of knowing are bound or confined or limited to those kinds of things that can be objectified. In other words, the ways of knowing that I have at my behest and in my control only respond to what? To objects. They can only be used on objects that have a form, that have a name, and that are away from me. That is why you can name the whole world using these means of knowledge at one's behest, but you cannot understand the truth of yourself because one's own infrastructure, resistance, strong preferences and prejudices come in the way. This is why one needs a teacher. The teacher becomes or wields, the Shastra becomes the Pramana, the teacher becomes the wielder of the Pramana. The teacher becomes the wielder of the Pramana, and when the Pramana is wielded, meaning when the Pramana is handled in the form of the Shastra and made alive and pertinent to this particular day, time, and student, then only Atma Ajnanam can be removed. Then only the problem that I am not whole, I am an idiot, all these things, then only they can be removed. So therefore, the centrality of the teacher. Then to answer the next question, what is the next question? Why does the teacher matter after one has gained self-knowledge? And it is clear in this work that he has gained self-knowledge. He is describing it, and he is talking about it incessantly. In fact, the whole text is about self-knowledge and Ananda derived from self-knowledge. He already knows that. He wants that. And so, if he knows, then what is the use of the Guru? Why keep bringing the Guru in? Well, when one doesn't know, the Guru becomes important because that is the only boat that can take you on the other side. No other boat is useful. Then, once you know this, the Guru still remains important because of whom you were able to let go of the shackles of samsara. That is why the Guru becomes very, very prominent, without whom one cannot gain the knowledge. And so, up till verse 10, there is all these metaphors of the Guru, metaphors that bring in the Guru very beautifully. We saw number 6, which is The one who was sleeping because of self-ignorance was awoken by the voice of the Guru. Not a lullaby, but a wake-a-bye. So the wake-a-bye of the Guru saying, you are wonderful, you are great, get to know yourself, get up, was exactly what I needed. And then as a result of that, the person says, I became prabuddha, I became a knowing person, and I dance, I revel in my own glory. And then the words of the Guru, what happened? The words of the Guru woke this person up. And then again in number 7, then the person credits the Guru with with a sidelong glance, because of which one was enlightened. And so enlightened means made aware of one's true nature. Now, it would be tempting to take this literally, that, oh, all I need is for the Guru to look at me. And then once the Guru looks at me, there is nothing more. I have self knowledge as soon as the Guru makes eye contact and looks at me. This is not all right to think. Why? Because then moksha would be very, very easy. Just catch hold of a guru who knows and ask them to look at you, and then it's done. Like, Chandra Darshanam, sometimes you have to look at the moon on certain fasts and everything. So, like that, you go and look at a guru, and then the matter is over. Kaam ho gaya. But that is not how it works. So, even though metaphorically we say that the guru looks at you, and then the Svatma Ajnanam, the Ajnana connected to or centered on oneself, goes away, we cannot say that at all. Why? Because why do you need a teacher? You don't need a teacher to look at you. You need a teacher because you are unable and helpless to understand yourself. You don't need the teacher to look at you. What do you need the teacher to do? You need the teacher to teach you. This is what the thing is. So then why does it say the sidelong glance? Because the power of the teacher is such, it is just a eulogy. It is eulogizing the power of the teacher, that may you have self knowledge. But see, the thing is, even the teacher cannot give you self knowledge. Oh, what do you mean? Because you already have it. You already have it. You already are Brahman. So, what is the difference now? You just have to know it. That's the only difference. It's that. So, even the teacher cannot give you self knowledge because moksha, because you already have moksha. So even the teacher cannot give. And so what the teacher can give is a upaya, a parihara, a strategy of being with this knowledge, of exposing oneself to this knowledge, etc., etc. That the teacher can give. But so here the whole thing is very nice, because here, even though he credits the Guru's sidelong glance with his svikara, with his abiding in the Satchidananda Swarupa, even though he credits that, it must not be taken literally. It must be taken in the sense that, the compassionate gurus, the glance is equal to the grace which we talked about earlier. There is a certain kind of a grace, and that grace is activated, which you still have to study, but the study is going to be free of obstacles and very, very, very easy. And so that is why the guru is important. And again, the 8th verse also talks about how the guru's grace translates into the Atmananda. Guru Kripaya, Kashchit Guru Kripaya, Sukha, Satchit Sukha Nijarupe Nimagna Dhihi Mauni. So the silent one, mainly he's talking about himself. So the silent one, without any antecedents, without any precedents, but due to the outpouring of the compassionate grace of the Guru, abides in the ocean, or basically sits at the bottom of the ocean of Ananda, which is Chit Sukhananda. And then this is another eulogization of the Guru. And then again we have the Guru come in verse 8. And what does that say? This was verse 8. So then again we have him come in verse 9. Verse 9. Guruvara karuna lahari vyatikara bhara sheetala swantah ramate yativara ekah nirupama sukha simani swairam. So the student came to the Guru, it says, with an agitated mind, very angry, very fearful, very upset. And the waves of compassion emoting from the Guru. The Guru was himself an embodiment of compassion, which were like waves that cooled this person who had gone to the river for the dip. The person was very angry with everybody, with everything. And then thought, okay, I'll just go take Ganga bath, river, or any river bath. All the rivers are holy. So you go and take bath in the Ganga or somewhere. He goes to take bath, and you know what happens? He's just when you go to take a bath, then there is a understanding that there will be cool waves. So he was all hot and bothered, and he plunged into the water and then took a bath in the Ganga, cooled by the waves. And here he plunged into the knowledge waters. And the Guru's compassion was the waves there. And the agitated mind attained stillness. This is part of the study. This is part of the study. He's referring to that. Part of the study is to attain this stillness from so that the mind and the heart can be a very wonderful avenue for the knowledge to come in and sit in the heart. Then verse number 10 also talks about the Guru. Sri Deshika Vara Karuna Ravikara Samapohita Antardhvantaha. Antardhvantaha means the inner ignorance. The inner ignorance was apohita, was nicely removed. By who? By the Deshika Vara Karuna, by the compassion of the teacher removed the ignorance. Like what? Like the rays of the sun remove the darkness. And then as a result, the person viharan maskari varyaha. So now the person of knowledge, maskari means the mendicant. A mendicant is called maskari. So viharan, so wandering around and abiding in this knowledge, the mendicant wanders around. How? In niravadhi ananda niradhau avaste. So the one who is in the ocean of limitless bliss because of the compassion of the Guru. And the repeated, repeated allusions to the compassion of the Guru is because that is the motive for the teaching. The Guru teaches only because of compassion. There is no other reason. There is not any kind of a monetary exchange. There is not some kind of an understanding. I scratch your back and you scratch my back. No such thing. There is not even the expectation that the people will get moksha, or will moksha one already has, but will gain this knowledge. That expectation is also not there. Like I want this person to get enlightened. Even that expectation is not there. All that is there is just a compassion. Like I am in the position to teach, and so there is no reason not to teach. That is all that there is. And so this is the reason why the Guru is held very high in the tradition. And one thinks about the famous line in the Mundakopanishad. This Pariksha Lokan Karmachitan Nirvedam Ayat Nasti Akritah Kritena Like this, there is a whole sentence in the Mundakopanishad, and there also the Mundakopanishad, the teacher in the Mundakopanishad urges everybody to go to the teacher, to find a teacher in order to remove self-ignorance. This is what so the first 10 verses are all about this. Now, we take a very interesting turn. We talk about the verses 11 and then 12 and then what else? 13, 14, 14 and then 15. So verses 11 to 15 talk about the relationship of the Jnani to the Jagat. This is a very interesting section. Why is this an interesting section? Let us find out. It is an interesting section because there is always a kutuhala. Kutuhala means a kind of a curiosity. And what is this curiosity? The curiosity of how come how come this jnani is still in the Jagat, talking, walking, eating, and conducting business of all kinds without any problems. And then what is this? How is this possible? How is this possible, and how does this happen? This is something that is very intriguing, and people have a lot of curiosity about that. Partly because they themselves do not know how to do this. Because you ask the person, okay, here are 10 things to do. Do these 5 things or 10 things. Immediately, what happens? There is a sense of feeling overwhelmed. Oh, I'm just a human being. How can I do this? I don't know how to do this. There is a sense of being overwhelmed. Great sense of, this is very much feeling trapped, feeling overwhelmed. All these things are there. But yet, and then, even if one person in the universe does something, there is stress. Even if one is not overwhelmed, one is stressed, one is anxious. And somehow negotiating the world of other jivas who have a mind of their own, literally, who have free will, and they are free enough to come to conclusions about you. This becomes very challenging. And then we see the Jnani traversing all these aspects very, 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 very easily and nicely. And why is talked about here. What is the outlook of the Jnani to the Jagat? Verse number 11. It talks about the understanding of the Jnani. How does the Jnani see the Jagat? Jagat akhilam idam asaram mayikam iva iti manasi manvanaha. Manvanaha means not the one who thinks. Here, the one who knows. The one who knows what? That this Jagat Akhilam, this whole universe is asaram. Asaram means without any juice. It is bland. It is like a dried gourd somewhere else. I think in Atma Bodha or Aparokshanubhuti, another work I have forgotten. There, the universe is described as, for the Jnani, as something from which everything has been sucked out, like a dried gourd. So the dried gourd, what is it used for? Nothing. Loofah, maybe you can scrub the feet and scrub the back with it during shower. That's at best what you can do. You can't do anything. Dried gold is useless, really. And some enterprising person made it into loofah, something you can, maybe you can wash the vessels with it because it has a little bit of a exfoliating nature. That's all you can do with a dried gold. It's just all fiber. That's all it is. All the fruit is gone, the seeds are gone, there is nothing there. And so similarly, the Jagat appears to the Jnani like a dried gold, from which all the juice has been sucked out. Then if you say, Ayo, that's terrible. So the Jnani must be looking at the Jagat and getting bored. But I over here, I'm getting so much, so much from the Jagat. I interact with the Jagat. I have this from the Jagat. I want that, and I do this and do that. And then why should how come the Jnani doesn't like the Jagat or what? Why does the Jnani sees the Jagat as the dried gold? What happened to the juice of the Jagat? If you ask that question, the juice of the Jagat is with the Jnani. That's why the whole external world of objects is as dry and nissara as a gold. But why is how did the juice of the Jagat, the essence of the Jagat, how did it transfer to the Jnani? It did not transfer to the Jnani. It was always with the Satchidananda Atma, the I that is Sat Chit Ananda. We'll see what that is. And the I that is consciousness, that is free of all duality, and the I that abides in itself, and the I that is the only source of existence and which is limitless, that is Satchidananda. So that Satchidananda alone is juicy. Raso Vaisaha Rasagdhyevayam Labdhva Nandi Bhavati. Raso Vaisaha. This is full of juice, rasa. Rasa means anything that you are attracted to. That is rasa, the whole essence of the Atma. That Atma is essential, because without the Atma, nothing is attractive. So things become attractive because of the presence of the I. In every object, in every name, in every form. And the Taittiriya Upanishad says so. Just like that, it says so. And what does the Upanishad say? The Upanishad says that this is what you are. This is who you are. And the Upanishad says all this entire Jagat has come from the Atma. Not the I that is confined to the body, mind, sense complex, but that consciousness free of sorrow, free of pain, free of fear, free of everything. This is what is the I. So when that consciousness has as though diversified and is present as the entire universe, then the universe shines brightly. Then the universe is full of juice. Then the universe is full of essence. But it is a borrowed essence. It's a borrowed essence. It's not its real essence. The universe is essentially essenceless. But then what is happening? It borrows the essence from Satchidananda in order to be what it is. So therefore the universe shines as attractive. Now, if I don't know this, I go and fall in love with the universe and all the things in the universe, then I'm doing exactly what that, what is that, like that Greek god Narcissus did. He was cursed, and then one day he happened to look at his reflection in the water, and immediately what did he think? Oh, there's a handsome fellow there. I'm in love with him. So sweet he is. And he tried to embrace him and talk to him. When he tried to talk, that person would not really, would just open his lips and would not really say anything. And when he tried to embrace him, it would cause ripples in the water, and the reflection would go away. And in this way, Narcissus pined himself to death, pined for a love he could not get, because truly the fellow was in love with himself. and he did not understand that. So too, the Jnani is understanding this. That is the only difference. The Jnani understands that all this is me alone. And in the presence of me, something shines, not as different from me, but as a projection of me, as an extension of me. This is what is Maya Shakti. Maya Shakti, she who has the power from Ishvara's standpoint, Maya Shakti becomes she, the one who has the power to create, to sustain, and resolve what? All the names and forms. She makes it all appear different when all of them are Satchidanand. The juice is Satchidanand. So anything that I fall in love with in the universe, two things must be remembered. One is it does not have the power to satiate me, because all the things that I am in love with in the universe are finite. And it may seem fine for a bit, but it is terribly finite. And so whatever I am in love with the universe is finite. And if it is finite, then that means what? It will come to an end. That's the first thing, causing disappointment. So then the second thing I need to know is whatever I fall in love with in the universe, any object, anything that I fall in love with in the universe is really loving myself. That's really what it is. It's non-separate from me. And these people do not know. That's why they think of something in the universe, a sense object, another person, another thing, whatever it might be. And they think that, oh, this is what is, this is my, this is what is going to complete me. This is what is going to make me happy. This is what people think. And they cannot be blamed because they are under the influence of Atma Ajnanam. So they cannot be blamed. And so therefore what? But what is the difference between such a person and a Jnani? The Jnani knows that this whole Jagat is an extension of me, the conscious being. In fact, the conscious being cognizes the Jagat and not the other way around. And so I am the conscious being. The Jagat is an inert thing. And I am lending my presence and lending my knowledge to all the things in the universe. This is what the person understands. I am the one who is lending my presence to all the things in the universe, and therefore what? So therefore I am just one with everything. This is what we call oneness. So this is what the person knows. And so when a person knows this, they see the world, they are able to see the world as devoid of any independent reality. The world is a dependent reality, so there is no independent reality, and so the world is just there. And here it is described as Nissara, or how is it described? Yeah, Asara, Asaram. Asaram means without any essential thing to attract. I am the one who is the conscious being, and the Jagat is inert, and I am the one who is pointing to the Jagat and saying, I will call you as Jagat from now on. And the Jagat, let's say, is very, very happy. Oh, somebody noticed. I have a new name. And so, anything that I love in the Jagat, the Jnani knows, the person of knowledge knows that whatever I have and whatever I love in the Jagat is just another Narcissus 2.0, 10.0, whichever version you want to take. It's the same thing of pining for something that you cannot get. And so, therefore, the person of knowledge is very objective in the universe and sees it as Nissara. This is not depression, because when one is depressed also, you may see something as Nissara. Oh, I don't feel like going here. I don't feel like going there. I don't have a wherewithal of this or that. I don't care. What do you want to do? I don't care. You want to see a movie? No, it's okay. Do you want to go somewhere for lunch? Do you want to go walk in the park and then get some fresh air? Not particularly. This is how the person is. That's not a jnani. That's the person under the state of dejection. Here, this jnani is not depressed or dejected. The person of knowledge is very factual and says that this whole universe is without Sara, because the Sara, the essence of the universe, resides with the observer, which is I. It does not reside with the universe. The universe resides in me as a possibility, and the universe is manifest and then demanifest. And when it is manifest, it relies on Satchidananda, it relies on the light of lights, which is the Atma, to give it satta, existence, to give it spurti, to make it all knowledge. Everything, anything that is existent is all knowledge. Think about it. Flower knowledge is. Fruit knowledge is. Tree knowledge is. It's all just knowledge. And so like this, one understands this, and then therefore one sees the universe as just not at all something to count. Jagat Akhilam, the entire universe, is without Sara, insubstantial, insubstantial, without Sara, without essence. And it's the Maya Karya Mayika. Mayika means Maya Karyam Idam. It is just a effect of Maya. Means what? It is not, the Jagat is not self-reliant. How do you know? Because I have to cognize things in the Jagat. The wild animals I cognize. I say, you are lion before I run away. You are tiger. You are snake. You are serpent. The serpent does not say you are a human being. No. So therefore, that conscious entity is me. And that when I understand, then it becomes very, very easier, much easier. And it is the effect of Maya. Meaning, effect of Maya means here, it is as since the whole universe is leaning on the Jagat, leaning on the I, leaning on Paramatma, leaning on Atma, same thing, on that conscious being for its own existence. It is Nissara. It is like a gold without any juice in it. You can't use it for anything at all. So this universe here is Mayikam. Mayikam means mithya. Mithya means a dependent reality. So know this universe to be a dependent reality, and knowing this, pariyatati means wanders. Patita ashaha, the one which has beaten back, the one who has beaten back all the desires. Meaning the one who is free of desires. Patita ashaha. Asha, hope, desire. Patita means the one who has wandered off all desires, has not, it's not that it is about desire control or anything. It is just that for the jnani, the objects of desire do not really appeal. Why? Because one has tasted and continues to taste the fullness of one's very being. That is what one continues to taste and be in. And that is why one is not interested in going here or there. So Mayikamiva iti manasi manmanaha, the one who silently thinks. The thinks, not thinks, the silently knows. Manasi, why is it emphasized? He or she does not go around and say to others, oh, you know what, the Jagat is like a dry gourd. Try saying that for a few days and see how many friends you have left. And then you can keep in touch with me and let me know, because I'll be most curious. So if you tell somebody the universe is like a dried out gourd, nobody will want to be around you. No, not a single person will be wanting to be around you. So therefore what? So therefore so the desire for friends, the desire to lead a quote unquote normal life, etc., makes one, makes one not qualified to gain this knowledge. Because the more the pressure the desires create, the more the one is away from oneself, because the desire takes you out of yourself, and then you have to go to the shop to buy this, go befriend that person, go here, go complain about the third person, go somewhere and try to fix the fourth person. This becomes a lot of one's own activities. And so therefore the contemplative sage rests in her or his own glory, and is not at all perturbed by the Jagat, which is Nissara, whether it is crying or laughing or screaming. If people are screaming on the Jagat, doesn't matter. It is still Bhagavat Srishti and it is Nissara. Nissara means without any juice. So the contemplative sage knows that the Jagat is not is without juice. And so, what does the contemplative sage do? Does not get enmeshed in all kinds of things that one needs to mind one's own business. But usually one is spread out very, very thin, and then one complains one doesn't have the time. And if you look into the schedule of such a person, you see that there is that this is the reason why they are tired. They have too many things going on. Yet you tell them that and ask them to cancel something. No, 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 no. Somebody important is expecting me. I can't cancel that. Okay, cancel this. No, no, no. I'm getting another degree because on the side, because the what's its name? The exams and everything are competitive, and I need to do this on the side. This is what I need to do because life is very difficult. Like that, the person is very bound to the Jagat, bound to the things in it, and wanting to get something out of it. But not so the Jnani. The Jnani recognizes that if anything that is there that makes the universe interesting, who is that? It is me alone. And so, knowing that, the person becomes partita ashah. Not so many agendas to improve oneself, to accomplish this, to accomplish that, etc. So then, partita ashah means the one without any agenda, without any wants, etc. The person moves around very, very, very nicely, moves around freely in the Jagat. So this is one verse that describes the Jnani's connection to the Jagat. There are a couple more verses which do that in their own way. And how does the Jnani relate to the Jagat? We'll come back after a 5-minute break right here and look at that. Thank you.
Nitin? Yes, Koti.
Yeah, I think some technical error.
No,
Oh,
Swamini
we
ji
are
has
on
taken
break.
5 years, 5 minutes
5 minute
break.
break.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, we'll be back in 5 minutes.
Yes, Swamini ji. We are here. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, at the end of the hour, we are taking just a small break. Now, on a similar vein, you want to say something?
No, Swamini, I just came.
Okay. Yeah.
Please continue.
So the Patitashaha, the one without any desire, the one who is free of desires. Free of desires, how can one be? Because one is free of being a desiring person. How is one free of being a desiring person? One is free of being desiring a desiring person because everything that one desires, one gets as soon as one gains this knowledge. What is it that one wants to be forever? To be happy, forever happy. That's all that one wants. And that immediately is gained with the help of this knowledge. So there is really not a desire that is going out all the time. There is no pining, there is no longing left. So therefore, patitashaha pariyatati. Nice little alliteration there. And even above, mayikam eveti manasi manvanaha pariyatati patitashaha. And then that alliteration continues. Alankara. Pragalita mada manasa matsaraha kopi. So Pragalita means the one for whom it has melted what? Pride. Pride and conceit. Mada and mana is mada is pride, mana is conceit, and then matsara. Matsara means there is a lot of jealousy and envy. So the person is free of all these things because all these things are not there, because the person has understood that there is no reason to feel envious because I have everything that I want. There is no reason to feel angry because there is no desire that is left unfulfilled. There is no reason to feel sad because I am the epitome of happiness. So this is how the person moves around. And then I saved the 11th verse for now, for a little later, because it's got an interesting concept there. There it says, Jani viparita kramataha buddhya pravilapya panchabhutani parishishtam atma tattvam pashyanna aste munihi shantah. Very beautiful. So there is a krama. There is a krama in the projection of the universe. तस्माद् वा एतस्माद् आत्मन आकाशः सम्भूतः आकाशाद् वायुः वायुरग्निः अग्निरापः अद्भ्यः पृथिवी पृथिव्या ओषधयः ओषधीभ्योऽन्नम् अन्नात् पुरुषः. Like this there is a krama. And sava esha purusho narasamayah. This is a krama. Krama means there is a kind of an order in the universe. There is an order in the creation. There is an order in the projection of the universe. Tasmat, from that Brahman, which is what? Etasmat, this Atma. From that Brahman, which is nothing but this Atma. What is that? Which is nothing but this Atma. From that Brahman, which is nothing but this Atma. What happens? This is the whole universe has come in this particular way. Akasha Sambhutaha, from space. Space is the subtlest element because it is cognizable by only one sense organ, which is the ear. Akashad Vayuhu. Vayu is a little more objectifiable with two sense organs. One is of course the ear and the other is the sense of touch. Like if you go like this in the atmosphere, you feel the air. So Akashad Vayu, Vayuhu, Vayoho Agnihi. And from there fire came, and that fire is little more gross, available to three sense organs, available to be objectified by three sense organs, namely the sight and the touch, of course, and the hearing. Like this we can see how each one is becoming more and more gross. And then Vayoragnihi Agner Apaha. Apaha, waters. Water, you also have to add the other 4 plus taste. Oh, but it is tasteless. That is its taste. That is its unique thing. That is indeed its taste. Then we have Adbhyaha Prithvi. Finally, Prithvi. The 5 element, the Prithvi, and Prithivya Oshadhayaha. And from the earth we have plants, and from the plants we have food, and that from this food that is eaten, we have these bodies. This is the whole krama. So here it is not Janikrama. Janikrama means the krama of the universe. Jani means the universe here. So that which is giving birth. So Janikramataha. So if we say, means in accordance to the manifestation. But here we say Jani Viprita Kramataha Buddhya. Here what is happening is Jani Viprita Kramaha. Means you imagine or visualize yourself as though Pralaya is happening where? Right now. Right now it is happening. Pralaya means dissolution. So you do a mental exercise of dissolution so that you don't get too addicted to anything in the universe. And the mental visualization of dissolution takes the viparita krama, takes the opposite way in which the universe was projected. So in the projected universe, the space came first, and then the Purusha, Annat Purusha, the body of the human being came last. But in the Viparita Krama, you will take the body of the human being first, and then from there something else, and something else, and something else. This is how you would proceed. And so this is basically what is called Jani Viparita Kramaha. And we see this in movies also sometimes. Like they want to undo something, or one of the characters is very unhappy with the state of the relationship or with the state of the family life or whatever it is, and wants to undo and go back to a certain point in time because he knows that probably it's his fault and he must have done something or said something because of which this has happened. And so what will the person, in the movies we see that, the person kind of goes in reverse. So the whole footage goes in reverse. So like that. It's kind of a moonwalking practice. So you keep moving forward, but actually you're going back. Something like that. The whole universe is made into a visual resolution. You see the resolution of the universe in the Viparita Krama. So first we saw how Akasha came from this Brahman as though, and then all the way up to Purusha, this body, mind, sense complex. But then when we do the Viparita Krama, we start with the body, mind, sense complex and end up in Akasha. And Pravilapya, having resolved in his mind, her mind, the Panchabhutani, the Pancha Mahabhutas, the 5 elements, are also withdrawn. So anyway, the withdrawn means cognitively withdrawn. Cognitively withdrawn. So it's not that it's really withdrawn, it's cognitively withdrawn. And then cognitively withdrawn means it's very interesting, means it will continue to be there even after Atma Jnanam because it is Ishvara's creation. So it will not go away, but you are not affected by it. That is the idea. So then when you resolve everything unto you, what is left? You, you who is are you are the one who is left. You are the one who is left. No one else is left. When you wrap up everything, what is left is you, and that is a worshipful Atma Tattva. That is what we want to know. That is what we want to be. That is what sometimes, even though it makes no sense, we want to see. So, buddhya pravilapya parishishta atma tattvam pashyan munihi shantaha aste. Shantaha means the tranquil sage. The tranquil sage remains calmly after doing this imagination of recalling the universe in the reverse order from which it was created, and then from there and from then there that stranger who was not even there as a muni suddenly appears as a muni. Why? Because now has Atma Jnanam, and so because of that, the whole universe is withdrawn, and Brahman is understood as the only reality. Very, very nice. So the contemplative stage rests, sage rests and wanders about. And then then there is one more verse I wanted to see. There is no, let's see, Tvamaham Abhimanahinaha. So the one who is devoid of Abhimana means any kind of a identification. Tvam, you, not I, and then I, aham. So there is that identification, and for the one who has this identification, life is miserable. Why is life miserable? Because if you have this particular identification, you cannot be that object. You cannot be this, you cannot be that. You are confined. You have three stages of three kinds of limitations: object wise limitation, subject wise limitation, and then what else? Otherwise also limitation. So object, subject, and then subject wise one is limited, and then because I'm confined to this body, and then I object wise limitation means I am confined only to this body, I can't go anywhere else. Time wise limitation, the body comes with a ticking clock as soon as it's born in the form of the timekeeper, Udana Vayu. And then so that is a problem, and then this is the so this way I have time wise and space wise limitations also. And so if all these limitations are there, then that means I'm not able to enjoy my nature. Therefore, the Jnani says, I tvam aham abhimana hinaha. There is no identification with this or that. And therefore, the Jnani's life is free of the effects of Maya. Maya only attacks if you believe in this. And if you say, I don't, I don't know who you are. What is this Maya? I am not under your spell at all. And you act confident and you are not under the spell of Maya, then what happens? Then there is great then there is great Shanti. And so this is what is there from 11 to 15. So we have seen one thing. We have seen how the Jnani sees the Jagat and relates to the Jagat. And then there is part B also here. What is Maya? This is a very important question. What on earth is Maya? Not coming under the spell of Maya and avoiding Maya. Not all these things we read. But what is this Maya after all? Maya from the standpoint of the Jiva is ignorance, but from the standpoint of Ishvara becomes all knowledge and bestows Ishvara with the status of God and the status of the maker of the universe. And this is what Maya is. And she has two powers to conduct her thing in the universe. And what are those powers? Vikshepa Shakti and Avarana Shakti. Some people say avarana. Don't do that, okay? Yeah, it is avarana. Avarana means to cover completely. Vikshepa Shakti means that, the power to project, the power to conceal, the power to project. What does she conceal? She conceals your own nature from you. That is the concealing. And then what about the power to project? What does she project? She, on the global scale, she projects all the things that Ishvara asks her to project. Let's have a new species. Yes, let us project something else. Okay, I'll work out the details and then it will be there tomorrow. So she's constantly projecting things and aided by Ishvara. And then here, On the jiva's side, the only thing she is manifest as is a dull ache. Oh, I don't feel so good. I don't have what I want. I lack this, I lack that. So if I lack too many things, my life becomes lackluster. And this is who I am. I just don't like this and I don't like that. I'm a bunch of complaints. I'm bored. I'm boring. This is what it is. And if Maya is not known, this is exactly what happens. One thinks of oneself as all these, coming under the spell of this Avarana Shakti. If Maya is not properly understood, one comes under the spell. We're having a lot of, that Avarana means that it covers one from the truth of oneself. And because it covers one from the truth of oneself, then the person has a lot of projections which are not true. The person has projections which are totally baseless. This person doesn't like me. Then you go and ask the person, the person says, "Oh, I'm surprised. I never said anything like that. I don't know why you got this idea." So all this subjectivity is due to Maya alone. And though that is what we talked about in the earlier session, it's a projection, and that projection has to be withdrawn. And the yogi is the one of self-knowledge has withdrawn the projections with the help of the teachings, with the grace of the Guru, that those projections are withdrawn. That's why the 17th, the 12th verse says, Atmani kinchin maya kinchin kinchit maya tatkaryam va asti vastutah vimale atmani. In this Atma that is free of all longing, free of papa, free of punya, nothing exists there of connected to Maya. Iti nishchayavan, ascertaining, the one who ascertains like this, one who comes to this definitive conclusion, Hrishyati, finally is able to rejoice. Hrishyati, rejoices. Rejoices what? Hrishyati ananda nirbharaha yogi. Nirbharaha means relying only on the ananda connected to the self. And as long as one is looking for Ananda outside and pursuing that Ananda, a remnant of that Ananda, like a little dust bunny, one is pursuing that Ananda in the Jagat, then the Atmananda will not be discovered, will not come out. Because one is settling for small Ananda through the encounters with various things in the universe. And so here the person is Atmananda Lahari, is just a wave of Ananda, an endless wave of Ananda. And why? Because they have defeated Maya. Defeated Maya means they are no longer under the spell of Avarna Shakti. Oh, what about Vikshepa Shakti? Vikshepa Shakti individually is withdrawn. At the level of the individual, it is withdrawn. But at the level of the collective, it cannot be withdrawn because it is Ishvara's Vikshepa, Ishvara's projection. Your own projection, if you withdraw, then you are able to live in Ishvara's projection happily. That is why we are able to see the Jnanis walk here, walk there without any compunctions and engage in the world without having any ill effects like stress, etc. Stress or longing. So this is the portion which talks about the Jnani's connection to the Jagat. And it's not the only time. Later on also we will come back to this section, but here the last few verses have talked about it. And then that is why I talked about that here, because there seems to be a particular theme of this section. So connected with the Jagat is the question, how does the Jnani interact with other people? We are also curious about that. How does the Jnani interact with other people? So here it says, Tvam aham abhimana hinaha modita nana janacharaha. So the one who is hinaha means devoid of I-ness and my-ness and you-ness and separateness. There is no separation here. And so therefore, the one who is delighted, modita means delighted. Delighted by what? Nana jana, jana, people. Delighted by the people. Nana janaihi, delighted, moditah. So, Nana, or you can take it as Nana Jananam Achareihi. So, he or she is delighted by the goings on. Achara means the day-to-day interaction of the various people. Why? Because at this level, there is no engagement. You don't want anything from anybody. So, you don't have a interest in the outcome. You don't want the outcome to be a certain way. You're not in competition with anybody. So you just sit and watch. Like go to the airport and you have a couple of hours before you board. So you're at the gate early. What do sitting there? You just watch people. Oh, this one is chewing gum. How interesting. That one is keeping on shaking his leg. Oh, this one is a harried mother, poor thing. The children are not listening to her and they are crawling all over the carpet. Like that, you don't need television. You don't need anything. The people watching becomes very, very fruitful and you can happily spend the couple of hours people watching before you get on the plane. And so here, the Jnani becomes a people watcher, even though they are not at the airport, they are not at the train station, but then they are just watching people in general wherever they are. They have become people watchers. And what kind of people watchers? Not critical people watchers. Oh, this person is an idiot. That person, bumped against me. And I'm sure on purpose. No, not that kind of a complaining people watcher. The one who is delighted by the act of people watching. People watching means it's like watching a movie. It's like sitting in the airport for 3 hours means binging on Netflix from the Jnani standpoint. So the Jnani is as good as binging on Netflix. Watching each person is like a channel, a reality show. And so the Jnani is happily doing this and watching people modita. Because there is nothing she wants. They don't want anything from anybody. They don't want anybody to give up anything. They don't want to go and say, how can you do this? This is my job. This is my action. You have taken over. There's nothing to take over. And everybody acts in a certain way and they just watch with delight because they know that this is not the ultimate reality. This is a transactional empirical reality in which all the activities are taking place, no doubt, but I am not part of it. So when the people watch, perhaps they see a version of themselves also going around and with a begging bowl, etc., etc. That also they are able to see objectively. So this is how they spend their time. And then viharati. Viharati means they walk around, they roam. How? Balavat ekaha. Ekaha means one, someone. Actually, he is referring to himself, but he is referring to himself like, kaschit ekaha, like that. So that he does not want to draw attention to himself as an enlightened being. Because if you are enlightened, you will not say, I am enlightened. That's why. And so, viharati roams around. How? Balavat ekaha. Like a child. Vimala sukhambo nidhau magnaha. Immersed. Magnaha, immersed. Immersed in what? Immersed in the clear waters of happiness. Immersed in the clear waters of clear lake, in the placid lake of Ananda, immersed in that, then the person walks around like a child. Not that one is childish. In fact, this what's that? This discussion takes place in the Brahma Sutras. And what is taking place in the Brahma Sutras? The discussion that how should the Jnani walk and talk? And the Shastra says that the Jnani is childlike. Does that mean the Jnani will start needing diapers soon? That's not the idea. It's not childish, it is childlike. A demeanor that is innocent and a demeanor that is very, very present, spontaneous. That is what the Jnani's responses to the situation are, just from the moment. Because the Jnani is the one who has become wedded to the moment, and the Jnani just is in the moment at any moment. So there is not any kind of back thinking. There is not any kind of a connect, this, oh, if I do this, then this will happen. There is no cause, connection, consequence, that kind of a chain. And even though you had travelers with you, somewhere you went and came back, doesn't matter. You can still lose that chain. And so therefore, the one is unaffected by Maya, therefore. Because when that subjectivity goes, then all the things go. And then how does the Jnani walk around? Walks around like a child. Not wanting, if you look at the child, a happy child, let us say, a child that has not been abused or neglected and is well fed. After that, you look at the child doesn't want anything. It stops crying, it doesn't want to be picked up, it is happily lying somewhere in its crib or a cradle, and it is fine. It's no problem, it doesn't even need to be entertained. So like a child which is fulfilled and like a child that does not need anything, and this person, ekaha balavat, like a child, sukham bodhi, sukhambhu nidhau, magnaha, immersed in the ocean of ananda. And so this child metaphor is very important because it comes everywhere. It is there as a lakshana of the Jnani. So then the child metaphor is taken to another level in verse number 15. Avadhuta karma jalaha jadabadhirandha upamaha kopi atma ramah yatirat yatirat atavi koneshu atannaste. So Avadhuta karma jalaha, the one who has cast off, thrown off, has been cleansed off of all karma. No karma at all is there. No karma is there. The one who has cast off all karma. How can you take off all karma? In the wake of the knowledge, when you wake up, it is like waking up from a bad dream. No more karma. You can just sing this chant. No more karma. No more karma. Why? Because the karma is a model. It is not absolute. It is a model for the people who are trapped in samsara, to give them, to channel them to a direction. And a direction of prayer, a direction of learning Vedanta. That is where they are channeled to. And so therefore, this verse is talking about that the karma doesn't exist. How is that? Karma doesn't exist because when one wakes up to the truth of oneself, then all the things that were accumulated in the dream do not have any value. That's why you cannot make a down payment for a house with a dream lottery ticket. You cannot do that. You cannot say, don't worry, I'll pay you. Here is the winning lottery ticket. Mega millions. I have won. No such thing happens. No such thing at all. And so this is this is exactly how the karma is. So the karma is operational as long as I think I am a karta. As long as I am convinced that I am a karta and I am the doer and I am the mover and shaker of everything, then karma continues. Because then that karta feeling, the identification I am the karta, resolves into I am the bhokta. I was first the doer. Now I am done in by other people's doing. So why are you done in? What did they do? They told me not to be the doer. And so I got angry. And then I was done by their doings. And so like this, one suffers as a result of karma. And because there is a relentless onslaught of karma coming, difficult karma, the more difficult karma, more difficult, difficult karma. And then is there anything good? A little bit of good karma. This is how it is. And so this is the way in which the Avadhuta, the great ascetic, shakes off the karma jala, shakes off the snares of karma that bind by saying, oops, doesn't apply to me. I don't know. And so there is no karma, there are no taxes to pay, there are no dues, everything is just simple, simplifies the life. And then atavi koneshu atan aste. So the person is roams around in the corner of the forest. Corner of the forest, keeps on roaming around and keeps on doing that. And then this is the great ascetic who has freed oneself from the shackles of karma. And even though they have freed oneself of the shackles of karma, they do not want to be in the position of trying to be friends with others or anything. They want to just be by themselves. And so therefore, they continue to just roam around in the forest, just assimilating this knowledge, just enjoying this knowledge. They just roam around in the forest, and then that is how one lives the life. And the next verse is also about karma, verse number 16, because it talks about dridhopa gudaha shantya shanta samastanya vedana vedanodaraha. So this is another verse that talks about the karma. What does it say? It says it doesn't talk about karma per se, but it talks about the yogi here who is free of karma. So having become free of karma, what does the knower of Brahman do? The knower of Brahman, first of all, is gudha, means does not advertise it to the whole world. Like that Eureka, he said. Archimedes, because he had discovered the law of buoyancy and he couldn't contain himself. And here, the Jnani also likewise does not contain oneself and does not need to, does not need to shout out like this at all. Because it is that inner fullness, not needing to make a claim, not needing to come out and project something. It is an inside job. Therefore, upagudha, and then shanta samasta anya vedana udara. And so the person is firmly established in peace and contented, not interested in knowing other people's business, serene, unruffled by other people's views of them. And this is the person of the Upanishad who is eulogized. And this is the Jnani. And so what does the Jnani do? Ramate rasagnyah ekah ramye swananda paryanke. In fact, all that metaphor of the mattress did not go in waste, because now that the mattress is ready, now the sage is going to lie down on the bed of Swananda. On the bed of Swananda, the sage is lying down and alone, totally hidden, not advertising anything to anybody, and full of joy, really joyous, and free from the desire for any other thing or want in the universe. This is how the yogi lives, and how the yogi lives in the world. The next one says, उन्मूलित विषयारिः स्वीकृत वैराग्य सर्वस्वः स्वात्मानंद महिम्नि स्वराज Swarajye asmin virajate yatirat. Yatirat means the king of the yatis, the king of the sages, the king of the ascetics. What does he, she do? What do they do? Virajate, abides. Virajate simply abides. Where? Where does the person of knowledge go? Colorado or a beach town? Where? Svatmani. Swem mahimni virajate. Virajate means is firmly established in that peace and not really anywhere else. And then because of that peace, where is that peace? That peace is because the person is unmulita vishayarihi, the one who has taken down all the inimical, all the penchant for having inimical vishayas, or the sense objects, has uprooted the enemy in the form of various addictions and objects of the senses, is not a slave to the object of the senses. And then what? And then has acquired great wealth. What is the wealth? Of Vairagya. The wealth of giving up is the wealth. The Jnani has acquired the great wealth of giving up everything, and this non-involvement reigns supreme in the kingdom, and because of this as well, one is in the form of this glory and reveling in one's own glory. We heard that, and then so that is the 17th one. And then the 18th one also talks about how the world is a crazy place, but never, ever, ever, even though it's a crazy place, the world does not surprise the Jnani. There is no surprise, no element of surprise. Savitari api shitaha. And then Savitari api shitaruchau Chandre tikshne api agha vanhi agnau. Maikam idam iti janan jeevan muktah na vismayi bhavati. Now suppose the sun suddenly becomes, we have a name for it, blue dwarf. Blue dwarf means incapable of emitting as much light, on its way to die. So the blue dwarf are there. There are certain blue planets who are orbiting the blue dwarfs, because at some point that was a viable solar system many millions of years ago perhaps, and now that sun has become a blue dwarf, cannot sustain life. So if supposing somebody found out, oh, so and so is a blue dwarf, then immediately one would feel very scared, very unhappy. How to treat this? It's a new syndrome. We don't know how to treat this. We don't know what to do. And so similarly, Saviti, he says that even if the sun were to turn cold, becomes a blue dwarf, and then what? Chandre tikshne api, and the moon were to become scorchingly hot. Chandre tikshne api means if the moon were to become scorchingly hot and if the sun were to become cool, then and then adho vahati agnau. Adho vahati agnau. And in the event of the fire flowing downwards rather than upwards, like you have an arati flame and you are going to do arati, and then what? The fire started to go downwards. It doesn't become an arati. So this is what it is. The fire always moves upwards, and then heat moves upwards, and then all these things are there. And then here the sun is cold, the moon is hot, and the fire is blowing downwards. Na vismayi bhavati jeevan muktah. The person of knowledge does not become agitated, does not become surprised. Why? Maikam idam iti janan. Knowing that this is a product of Maya, the person is not affected at all. Not in the least bit affected. Even if let the sun become cool, let the moon become scorchy, let the fire burn downwards. The Jeevan Mukta says, okay, this is all temporary. I'm not worried about this. This is how the verse number 18 ends. And then more we'll see next time. I want to give some space to the questions after the closing prayer. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om. Yeah, I didn't kindly display the shlokas on the screen. I didn't display because I was taking it very, very fast and jumping a bit here and there. But I can share it next time, not a problem. So, I can send the attachment through email because in this webinar, if I just put it in the chat pod, it doesn't go. So, please send me your email and I will send this particular PDF that you want. Okay. Yeah. Any other questions?
We have not received any other questions.
No, I answered two in the break.
Yes.
Yeah, I have answered two in the break, and now we just had a few comments, and that's what we received. And that's all it is. We've had some comments. That's okay.
I'll just check the YouTube.
Sure.
And yeah, on YouTube also there are no questions from me at this time.
Okay. Okay,
I
no
think,
problem. We'll meet tomorrow at 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
Om Tat Sat. Om.
Thank you, Swamini ji, again for a wonderful
Thank
session.
you. Thank you.
Viewers, tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock, we have the third of the 6 talk series. So don't miss it. And if you have missed today's session, you can always watch it on our YouTube channel. So please join at 10 o'clock in the morning tomorrow. Shri Guru.
Thank you. Om.